That's why you see Ruto and Raila, who were together, are falling apart. Uhuru and Ruto, who were together, are falling apart. Now Raila and Kalonzo, they are falling apart. And Karua, who was Raila's vice presidential candidate, they are now on separate ways. That's what happens when your solidarity is negative. The best form of solidarity must be positive. It must be based on what you believe in. So that negative solidarity of 1980 gave DP a lot of support around here. And eventually it translated into support to the National Resistance Army. And as you know, 90% of the war was fought here in Buganda. And 90% of the skulls and bones that are being displayed by NRM are of DP members. Now that is something that many DPs don't appreciate as a major contribution. So this point has got to be stressed because today we are suffering from the effects of a wave, and that wave came and infected our party. Under the DP constitution, we have got national organs. We have got the Delegates Conference. The Delegates Conference was a referendum on the policies that I'm championing. It was a referendum on my leadership. And the majority of more than 70% endorsed the direction where I am taking the party. Now, democracy is about majority. Unless you are not a Democrat. If you are a Democrat, you must accept majority rule, but you also accept minority rights. I know the media likes to give majority of the airtime to the minority in DP. And then we, the majority, we get the minority of the airtime. But that's okay. So, we have taken a decision to hold a meeting of the National Executive Committee next weekend. We shall be back in Mbarara. And the National Executive Committee will be discussing strategic and tactical issues. It will be discussing what we can achieve with the capacity we have. It will not be a meeting for making empty promises. But we are going back to Mbarara because while here in Kampala there's a lot of noise about Mao and DP and so on, everywhere else in the country, DP is a hot cake. So there must be something wrong with this part of Uganda. Because a party they have been taking for granted somehow is shifting its base. I can say that because of the short-term ambitions of many of our DP leaders, they have handed over DP to other parts of Uganda. But they want to blame me. That is how you find that DP could not have a single councillor in Kampala city, but DP could have a councillor in Ibanda. In fact, we are the only opposition party with a councillor in Ankole. DP could not have a councillor even in Jinja and Kampala. But DP could have a councillor in Kabong, near the Sudan border. So there is something wrong. Now, because we are not stupid people, of course it is good when you are not stupid, but people assume you are stupid, because that gives you a lot of power. You then have the opportunity to surprise them. Somehow you behave like hot porridge. On the surface you are cool, and people assume that you are actually cool. Then they try to dip their finger underneath and they get seriously burnt. And that has helped us a lot. You saw it when we were going to Mbarara. As we headed to Mbarara, people made a lot of assumptions. Even some of you in the media had already written off my leadership. But the fact that I'm quiet doesn't mean I'm stupid. Sometimes the most stupid people are the ones who talk a lot. Sometimes being intelligent means shutting up. So, the strongest branch of DP right now is in Omoro, which used to be part of Gulu, where there is no single position which does not have a candidate. While in Kampala, we are struggling to even mobilize candidates. And yet Kampala was always a DP stronghold. But because we are having these historical battles in DP between forces of provincialism and regionalism and forces of nationalism, I represent a national vision for DP. My opponents in the party represent a parochial provincial vision. And it was that sectarian provincial vision was thoroughly and roundly defeated in Mbale, it was defeated in Katomi, it was defeated in Gulu, and recently it has been beaten and thoroughly pulverized in Mbarara. That is why many of them scattered in disarray. Because there is no principled reason to oppose Mao. I keep asking them, on what principle are you really opposing me? Name that principle. We are not in a competition on who hates Museveni the most. If that was the issue, I even have more reasons actually than any of them. Because of cheap propaganda, the only politics which trades in Kampala is to show that you are the most angry against Museveni. You don't even have to talk about the solutions of the problems. It has even infected our young people, even children. You know this young boy called Fresh Kid. So one time Fresh Kid was being interviewed by some of you in the media. So they asked him in Luganda, ate omukulembeze w'eggwanga President Museveni omwogerako ki? Then he said, atufuje bubi. He had some gaps in his teeth. He was losing teeth. So he said, atufuje bubi. Now, a 7-year-old, how many years of President Museveni does he know? But because of what he hears through your media, through TikTok, through social media, he has also come to agree that, you know, he has led us very badly. So, then they asked him, how is your life? Then he said, I'm making money as a musician. I'm even building a house for my parents. I'm paying fees for my brother. But still he says, atufuje bubi. In spite of all those opportunities, he must still align himself with the propaganda. There is a part of Uganda I will not name where propaganda brought serious problems. The people were being told that those planes that you see flying above are supposed to land here because the Queen of England is sending us donations. But President Museveni has stopped those planes from landing here. So the people would see planes passing in the skies and they would really get angry that, you know, our donations are just passing because of propaganda. Propaganda led to the murder of 1 million people in Rwanda. There was a genocide. Even in Germany, there was a genocide against the Jews. The people were told, you are poor because the other ones are rich. So I believe that as the leader of the Democratic Party, it's my duty to empower these leaders of ours to have the capacity to explain issues in very simple terms on how to solve problems, on how to achieve things. So today, we celebrate that big milestone of getting the endorsement of the true believers of the party. So we stand here after a meeting of the management which acts on behalf of the National Executive Committee to announce that we have taken over the powers of endorsing candidates from the following districts: Kampala and all the constituencies in Kampala, Jinja City and all the constituencies in Jinja City, Wakiso and all the constituencies in Wakiso, all the districts in Greater Masaka, that includes Masaka, Kalungu, Kalangala, it includes Sembabule, it includes Bukoma, Simbi, all those districts, including Chotera, Rakai. The National Executive Committee, which constitutionally is the directorate of the body, has assumed all the powers of the branch leadership in all those districts. It took effect days ago, but I'm only announcing it today. All the parliamentary candidates will now be considered at the national level. The reason we have taken this decision is because those branches are dysfunctional. They are incapable of delivering a democratic process of candidate selection. They are incapable of organizing primary elections. Therefore, the National Executive Committee has assumed all their powers. This is not the first time we have done it. We have done it before. You remember we overthrew the government of Kampala branch as we headed to the 2020 elections. We do that because there's a difference in the way we treat those who are rebelling against us. There's a difference between opposing and rebelling. Those areas I've named have leadership that are in rebellion against the current leadership of the Democratic Party. And therefore we treat them like rebels who are undermining the party. This irrevocable decision will free our members from those who are discouraging them. We got reports that some of these people received party stamps, but they have hidden them. Why? Because in their mind, DP must fail as long as Mao is the leader. What sort of logic is that? Assuming I'm a captain in a ship and we are in hostile waters, instead of praying that I should have steady hands and we reach safely, you're praying that the ship should drown. If you hate me, at least love yourself. If however much I hate another person, at least I must love myself. Even if you want Mao to die, but at least pray. Mao is the captain, and you are praying that he becomes a bad captain and the ship should capsize.
Mba omuli Bukanga North. Abantu mwena bija hamwe bale kuija n'abashemererwa kandi n'abakira mwe bale kutera omuhanda kurwo mu constituencies zanyu. Tuina abantu bingi, tuina abantu abarugo muri Kashumba aho turi, tuina abantu abaruga Ngarama, tuina abantu abaruga Kakamba, tuina abantu abaruga Rugaga Town Council, tuina n'abandi abaruga Rugaga Sub County, tuina n'abandi abaruga Rushasha. Mbene rizo banye no kushemererwa kwa mani munonga okureba ngo nabasa kushitama aha gomborora okushitamiso ruchiko ru kandi runayeta ahabwe nshonga mpango kandi nshonga nkuru. Eyindi kwenda ngumanyisi hangeri, eyindi kwenda ngumanyise Isingiro district, eyindi kwenda ngumanyise Bukanga North, eyindi kwenda ngumanyisi hanga ryona. Na munongo mu kigambo cy'obwebembezi. Ntakagambire bingi munyikirize mbanze nyegambeho amazina ganje ndikire mugumya. Abanyisinje mu kampereze rindi zina ngo ndio wamizi marungi. Ubwa hati ndi member wa parliament omucyara kujwekera district ya Isingiro. Kandi na isemyaka ena neburi kweyongeramu ndi kwebembera district age nka member wa parliament omucyara. Mbene nyenda kutwara umugisho gwo kukulisa abanyisingiro mwena okubakulisa karuru ka NRM akutwara biremu kwezi kwa mushanju. Kandi mbakurise nakandi aka sek akutubire turime sande huire turyo mu kibuga Kampala aha mbuga za Kororo. Mbenu takatandikire nabandyaho abantu bagira ngo twaleta sekani twaleta seko muri Bukanga North twaleta seki aha gomborora ya Kashumba. Basaba nabanyabo abinji ni mumanya tinkuza kweyongera munonga kweyanja ebikurengaho. Izoberi ni jana family yanje nino mushija wanje ryaho mwami Tongirwe Joseph nina abana banje babiri aba baryaha nimureba bo baryo mu cya MK ni jana abandi bantu abahadizi banje abantu abanyineho rukundo abantu abari kumpereza amagezi abantu abari kunkwatiraho abantu abatwire nanyi omurugendo